What's up guys, I'm randomfrankp, and today I have a massive review for you guys from a bunch of G.SKILL RIPJAWS peripherals. We have the G.SKILL KM780 RGB keyboard, KM780 RGB mouse, and the SR910 real surround sound gaming headset. So you can see they're all behind me. I'm going to go over each one individually, give the pros and cons, and talk about the software. Starting off, let's talk about the Rgb keyboard. I'm going to go as far as to say, to open up with this keyboard is the perfect combination of the Corsair Gaming K70 RGB and the Razer Black Widow Chroma keyboard. It combines the best of each and puts them into one great keyboard. What I mean by that is its physical features. You have the same exact keycaps, the same exact crystal shell that the MX switch is built inside, and yes, these are real MX Cherry switches. It has a brushed aluminum top base to it, even though the body is constructed of plastic. We have the dedicated media keys section, which was featured on the K70. We have a section on the left side for 6 macro keys, and on top we have an area where you can plug in an extra USB plug as well as your headphone and microphone jack, which is what we saw all on the Razer Chroma keyboard. So like I said, best of both worlds built into one great keyboard. Its construction is pretty solid as well, and it's pretty lightweight for all the stuff that it packs into this. On the top sides and bottom of the keyboard, you have these little bars built into the keyboard, and that is for just the additional features that it does have, including the rubberized wrist rest, which you can attach to the bottom of the keyboard, so it doesn't really add a lot of pressure to your palms when you're typing, as well as the additional keycap little holder that you can put on the top of the keyboard, in which it includes additional textured keycaps for some of your most used ones when gaming. They're slightly textured with little line indents in them, and they are red. The keyboard does have a nice thick braided USB cord, which is great because that, again, is going to help prevent any snagging or tearing, which like we would find on rubberized USB cords. Now this keyboard does have MX Cherry brown switches inside, so definitely provided a great in-between experience between something like red and blue switches. I welcome the nice change because I'm used to typing on reds or clears. There's not a lot about this keyboard that I don't like because, again, it combines the best of two really great keyboards on the market right now. Physically, it adds great features of both the keyboards, and it looks really nice with the brushed aluminum top, even though it is primarily made of plastic, so it's going to still have that really nice lightweight experience to it. Having macro keys and the 6 on the right side are huge. I love when keyboards have macro keys because that's great for when you're gaming or video editing or photo editing. You can make a certain function to a macro and just press it and save you a lot of time. And I also love the addition of the media keys on top for someone who likes to listen to music or watch movies often. As a downside to this, since like the K70, this keyboard has the crystallized shell, which the LED light and the switch is housed inside. It does kind of diffuse the lights from being at its fullest potential. I found that even at its brightest third setting, which is at 100% brightness, it is still kind of dull and lackluster in my opinion, especially compared to other RGB peripherals that are out right now. The lights just aren't bright enough in my opinion. As for the software with this keyboard, I'll get into that at the end of the video when I talk about the other two peripheral software as well, so stay tuned for that. But just to kind of wrap this little overview up, my gaming experience with this keyboard has been great. It is an absolutely great gaming keyboard. I love all the features that it packs into this, and if you're in the market for a new gaming keyboard, this might be your best option. It does come in at a little higher price point than the other two keyboards, so keep that in mind, but altogether, this thing is the best of both worlds. Hit the headset. Now let's talk about the mouse, and this one I really didn't have a high expectation for because I never really used a G.SKILL mouse in the past and I didn't really think it was going to be anything great, but it definitely exceeded my expectations. Out of the box, it does come as a right-handed mouse, but it is actually an ambidextrous mouse because inside of the box it gives you additional sides that you can change and swap out to make the bottom of the mouse where your thumb would sit either on the right side or the left side, so you can swap those components out for if you're either a lefty or a righty. So that's a great addition. Inside the box, you also have these 2 mini puck weights, which are 4.5 grams each. So if you want, you can change the weight to make it a little more heavier to fit your preference. And you also have a little tuning hex key to make the the palm area either rise up to make it less strain on your palm, depending on what kind of grip you use, or you can put it all the way down for a more unibodied look. That flexibility and the fact they give you all these things to change the mouse to make it how you want is really great. And it reminds me a lot, just looking at it, like the Mad Catz Rat, I think it is, one of those mouse. I think that's what it is. It reminds me a lot of that. The entire mouse is covered in a rubberized material, which is great for having that extra grip factor, and it also is going to help avoid any slipping or something like that when you are gaming with it, or just using it in your hands. You can go into the software and change all of the buttons on the mouse to whatever you want them to be. There are 2 buttons on each side of the mouse, on the left and right side. You have your scroll wheel as being a button, as addition to the left and right click, obviously, and the button below, which is typically your DPI sensor. You can change any one of those buttons to be whatever sort of function or macro you want within the software. But again, I'll get into the software at the end. Real quick, 2 cons I wanted to mention about the mouse since I gave you the kind of overview of it. The first one is being the scrolling wheel. Since it does have that rubberized texture on top, I found that my finger would kind of just graze the scroll wheel without it actually register that it's scrolling. I'd have to kind of press down on the scroll wheel for it to actually, move. Just a little minor thing. And the second one was the 2 buttons on each side. They felt kind of mushy to me. They go way past the point of where it actually clicks and registers as a key press. It kind of like goes in a lot more than I'd like it to. I would typically like this, and what you find on other mice is that where it clicks and you can't press it in anymore, it's just, I don't know, it's a very mushy feeling that I didn't like it. It kind of made it feel a lot cheaper to me because of its plastic construction, I guess, of those keys. I don't know, I just wanted to mention that real quick. But for gaming, it was a very pleasant experience. It felt very nice in my hands since you can adjust, where the palm rest does go. And, with the DPI changing on the fly and the software, it was altogether a really good gaming mouse. And all the RGB lights on it make it look really nice and flashy. But again, we'll get into that at the end. And lastly, we have the true 7.1 surround sound gaming headset. Are we saving the best for last here? No, not at all, actually. And this is the point in the review where everything is kind of gonna go downhill. Taking a look at the headset itself, it doesn't really look that bad at first glance, right? No, it doesn't. But when you put it on your head, look how weird this looks. It is very high up, like a top hat. Yes, that's kind of due to like the kind of flex band they have on here, so it adjusts automatically to help it feel more lightweight. But this is just very unnecessary, very obnoxious looking, and I don't like that at all. I do not like the way this headset looks. On top of that, for its overall experience, it's a very heavy headset. There's a few reasons. One of the reasons, and that's kind of the most important thing about this headset, is because there are actually 5 speakers in each of the ear cups. Now the reason for that is because this is a true surround sound headset. Typically when you buy a surround sound headset, it is all emulated because there are only 2 drivers on the headset, 1 in each ear. This physically has 5 different speakers in each of the ear cups. You can look inside and see each 5 of the speakers. That's really cool. It's going to help emulate that surround sound to a much more true experience, but it also makes it a lot heavier. Also making it heavier is the included mix amp on the headset itself. The mix amp is non-removable, and typically when you have a mix amp or an included sound card, it is removable because you would be able to plug it in and plug it into your computer, and there'd be some sort of breakage there. This does not have that. It's a really long cord, and the mix amp is built in, so it's this all-in-one unibody headset, and it just adds for a very heavy feeling headset when it's on your head. And it just adds a lot of clutter and unnecessary wires since everything is just all packed into one. Other than that, the ear cups do turn in and out for laying flat on your desk or flat on your actual, like around your neck. The entire headset is coated in that same rubberized matte look that we see as well on the mouse. So it doesn't really look that bad. It does have the red accents around the headset. But again, it just looks extremely obnoxious and unnecessary on my head. But getting into the most important part is how these actually sound. Since these are true 7.1 surround sound headsets, you would think it would be a really cool and new experience, but for me I actually found it was kind of the opposite. Yes, you can go into the software and change the individual speakers and how they sound, and even on the included mix amp you can go in and change the volume of each individual speaker inside. But altogether, I found since there is not just, one speaker in each ear driving the full sound into your ears, there was a lot of lost sound quality, especially in the mids. It got to the point where I was gaming, where I would lose a lot of the normal sound effects that I usually hear in games like GTA. like walking or gunshots. Gunshots were kind of like inaudible. They sound very far away. And altogether, the whole headset kind of sounded like I was listening to something that was in another room. It sounded very strange, not what I expected from having 5 speakers in each ear. So this is definitely the weakest product in their G.SKILL product line. As for the microphone,
this is the mic test for the SR910 surround sound headset, completely unedited or unaltered within their software. Yeah.
the microphone, though, is like what we've seen on something like the Siberia headset from SteelSeries, where it sits inside the left ear cup, but it does also have the ability to get pulled out, and it is flexible, so you can move it to whatever kind of direction or way in front of your mouth. So that's pretty cool. The mix amp, though, is very nice. It has nice bright LED lights inside, so you can see the volume you're making and all the adjustments you're making on the fly. You can also mute the sound as well as the mic just by pressing in on the knob and the microphone button. So I do like the mix amp, I just wish it was removable. And now we'll get into the software portion of this review, the software for each of the 3 peripherals. First off, I want to say when I downloaded each software, my computer gave me a warning saying this software typically isn't downloaded and it could be harmful. So that kind of, alerted me right out of the bat. Then when I plugged all the peripherals in and I got it booted up, I got the blue screen of death and my computer had to restart. So that was pretty alarming, like right initially when I was testing these. Like not good, not something you want from your gaming peripherals. Starting off with the keyboard, we'll go in order. The keyboard, the whole software reminded me a lot of when Corsair launched their first software, their Corsair Q software. Very similar effects like solid lighting, blinking lighting, pulsing, breathing, wave, all the typical stuff you would typically find with these RGB peripherals. However, what was really annoying, and this could be either a glitch or a bug because the software is new, the lights wouldn't really register to the keyboard. I would make the entire keyboard white, and since there was no save or apply button, the keyboard wouldn't really work. It would either just stay the red lights that it is stock when you turn it on, or it would just have no lights at all, which is very annoying. But to actually apply lighting effects to this keyboard, you can't go in and just do it in the lighting tab. You have to go in, make a preset of the lighting first, then go into the lighting section and apply that preset you already made. It's very confusing, it's not user-friendly at all, and like I said, it didn't even work half the time for what I was trying to do. And when it did work, it wasn't a smooth lighting effect or a smooth transition. It was very choppy, and I didn't like that. Next is the software for the mouse. Typical software you would find for other gaming mice. You can go in and change stuff, change the buttons, change the DPI. Definitely the most user-friendly out of the 3 peripherals. What I didn't like, though, again, was with the lighting. You have to go in and click each individual lighting area to change what light you want to do. You have to turn the lighting off, click the color you want, and then turn that lighting back on for that certain area of the mouse for it to apply to that color. However, there is only one sort of effect, and that's breathing. And no matter what color you have on your mouse, so you have it all blue and green, when you go in and change it to a breathing effect, it will all go stock to red breathing. And you have to go in and then select each individual lighting area to change to that color for it to be breathing. It's just really weird and unnecessary, and I don't like that. Make it a lot easier. One thing I wanted to mention was when I made when I went to the software and made all of the lighting effects white, for some reason one of the light strips was just yellow when everything was selected white. It's just weird quirks and bugs like that shouldn't be happening. And then lastly, for the headset, again, not the best. The software for the headset looks like it's from 1995. It is just very ugly, looks very outdated, and looks nothing like something we would want to see in 2015. It is very gaudy, it's very blocky. There's a tab section that I didn't even know existed because it was just these red layers, and it just looks really weird. You can go in and change the certain sound effects and the certain prefix and adjust the certain levels of certain speakers and have different gaming presets and music presets, typical stuff. But just all in all, it just was not good software at all. I don't know why. They also have a thing where you can go in and change your microphone pitch to make your voice masked to be really low and deep or very high and high pitched, which is not really necessary. It's something we would see back in the early 2000s when people did that. It's just a very dated software, and I didn't even use it. I uninstalled it because I just would much rather prefer the stock experience than have that software on my PC. So all in all, if I had to kind of wrap this up, I would say the best peripheral here, hands down, is the keyboard. It combines the best of both worlds from the Corsair Gaming K70 and the Razer Black Widow Chroma. It's a great keyboard. Next up is the mouse. I think it's a really good gaming mouse. I like how they give you the flexibility to adjust certain things on it, and it's great for ambidextrous usage. It's not the best. I wish it would feel a little more solid, and I didn't like the way some of the buttons pressed. It kind of felt cheap to me, but it's definitely the second best in this product line. And then lastly is the headset. I cannot recommend that headset. It's very heavy. It's just doesn't sound that good, and that's the most important thing. It definitely sounded like I was listening to something in a different room. It's just very, very clouded and muffled and not what I wanted. There are definitely headphones out there for much less money that you can get that will sound 10 times better than that gaming headset. I can't recommend that at all. And the software is just horrible. All right, guys, going to wrap up my review of the 3 G.SKILL RIPJAWS products here in their new product line. Yeah, if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions, you can comment down below or follow me on Twitter at randomfrankp. If you haven't already, please hit subscribe for more tech videos and gaming setup videos in the future. It's very hot in here. I've been doing this review for a while now. The lights are hot, so I'm going to head out. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'm Random Frank P. Have a good day.